Here we are looking at what I call the 3 pillars of evolutionary relating. And this is actually, these are the 3 things, I don't have a better word, I was mentioning earlier. Actually, I don't call this a method. I don't even call this like a special way of relating and you could choose another one. Like, sure, you can choose another one and can leave one pillar away, but then your relationship won't function. So I actually feel like it's not something you can decide on or leave away. It's something that makes relationships work. That's as simple as that. What makes it an evolutionary relationship, we will come to that later already.
So you're saying that these are already present in all relationships?
No, they are. They unfortunately aren't present. They are present in functioning relationships.
Ah,
that's the thing. And like I was mentioning earlier, while investigating what would I and what would my clients have needed in this and that situation, it always boiled down to this. So let's look at that. Like there are 3 pillars carrying a roof, and we need all 3 of them. Otherwise, the roof won't stay there. It will break down sooner or later. You can maybe balance it, but if you touch it and just one little feather like comes on it, it will break down. So to have it solid, you need all of these 3 pillars, but not 15 or whatever. It's just those 3. So it's actually quite simple. And we talked into the first one actually already. And Ida, you mentioned so nice the self-responsibility I was pointing on, and the awareness that together can be called like needs orientation. I need to be needs orientated in a relationship. And it's all about me and my needs first. But this means like everyone involved in the relationship. So the first pillar is a lot about what do I need? What history maybe of relational trauma do I bring? What are my triggers? What are my wants? What are my desires? What are my ideas of how relationships should look like? All of this, what I bring as a preset which is on my side, that I bring in connection when I relate with you. And here the awareness and always deepening awareness about what I bring is important. And as I mentioned earlier, the self-responsibility to not just take it as it is and look for someone that fits to my preset, but rather see is that what I bring actually something you could relate with, or is there some work to do on my side, and how can we find it, and whatever. Yeah. So this is what the first pillar makes very sustainable. It's looking at actually what you bring and what you want and what you need. This is the needs orientation. The second pillar,
the first pillar is also where nervous system awareness comes in, that we just talked about, because any unmet need, either from the past or in the present, shows up as an activation in our nervous system, right?
Right, yeah. Actually, our nervous system is activated when our needs not met. That's wonderfully said, Ida. Yeah. We always often think of needs and our nervous system, but actually they're connected. I feel good, I'm happy when my needs are met. And when they're not met, my nervous system kicks in and has ideas and patterns and strategies to fulfill my needs again. But often it's not about my primary needs, but coping secondary needs. So a little bit of awareness about that is necessary to understand why do I actually act how I act. And we could go deeper there, but I actually for time time concerns, I want to keep it there.
So second pillar. What does this beautiful word mean?
Benevolence. That's what I just learned. I always pronounced it French, and that's not right. Benevolence means I approach you with the idea that you don't want to harm me. And there is a curiosity involved. Benevolence is the opposite of playing victim-perpetrator games and blaming and shaming. So I'm oriented towards you and I want to make it work. So when the first pillar is about me, the second pillar is actually about how I approach you. And their interest is important, and acceptance that you might have needs and triggers that I don't have, or needs that bring up fear in me or make me feel uncomfortable, but then not going into blaming and shaming and telling you your needs are wrong, but rather staying interested and saying like, okay, wow, this is hard for me actually, but tell me, how is it for you? So this genuine interest in how the other is, which we all had in the beginning of our relationships, everyone had that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in relationship. But then we, over the time, lose it because actually it's quite uncomfortable to relate with you. You should be different. And the benevolence takes the you should be different out. So the second pillar is about that. It's about what's my preset of how I engage you. And to make this work, actually, we need a third pillar, and that's all. That's the transparency. And transparency doesn't mean like I don't lie or I tell you the truth if you ask. Transparency means you can actually see through me. Everything that concerns you, and actually, I would say that's mostly everything, if you relate with me, I have to make transparent. Because how can you approach me with acceptance and benevolence when you know and feel that I'm hiding stuff from you? So transparency means I show up, I show myself, and you do the same. And when we do that, this is communication. And communication is not just verbal communication. Communication means everything. We cannot not communicate. That's the funny thing. Even if I look away and ignore you, that's communicating a lot. So coming home and asking your partner, how was your day? And your partner says like, oh, as always, whatever. Yeah, that's communicating something. That's communicating you don't want to tell me about you. I'm not important for you. You don't share your inner world with me. And I interpret that if I want it or not. And then it kills the benevolence. So we need communication and some form of intimacy. And with intimacy, I don't only mean sexual intimacy. That's also a wonderful form of communication, but it's not the only one. Intimacy means I show myself vulnerable and personal. So if we bring these three pillars together, we actually have the first one that's about me and getting awareness and responsibility for myself. The second pillar, how I engage you and behave when not everything runs smooth and maybe your needs create fears in me. And to make this work, we have the action pillar, that's pillar 3, where we go into action, where we communicate, where we deal with each other, where we talk, where we relate, where we co-regulate our nervous system. And then it makes all together, they mingle up and carry this wonderful roof I call an evolutionary relationship. And actually, these three pillars would carry any relationship, but what makes it evolutionary is that I can have focus on creating more and more and deeper exploring of my needs and create an awareness there. So I allow my needs to change, because that's actually happening anyhow. We just don't want that. We are ever-changing beings. And allowing that and inviting that through interacting with these three pillars makes a relationship so strong, connected, that it holds development, changing needs, flexibility, and whatever might come from inside or outside.